Here is the famous Berlin Sleeper on its way to raid Frosinone Aerodrome near Rome. The 103 bombing missions of this remarkable fortress include targets in France, Holland, Belgium, Tunisia, Italian Libya, Pantelleria, Sardinia, Sicily, and Italy. The Sleeper is now back in the States. Moving day for the 321st Bombardment Group brought thunderstorms, heavy showers, and mud. Planes, tractors, and men were bogged down to a snail's pace by the weather conditions. But in the 48 hours allotted for the job, the camp was torn down, equipment and supplies loaded and packed, and the movement completed. They used C-47 cargo planes and their own B-25s. 24 hours after they landed in Italy, the group flew their first mission. Thunderbolt crews at a fighter station of the 8th Air Force in Great Britain are detailed to escort flying fortresses on a bombing mission over Nazi Europe. While the pilots are briefed, ground crews have prepared the P-47s, loading machine gun ammunition, testing the guns, filling the auxiliary tanks for long range. These squadrons are leaving for the front, the great air front over Western Europe. Heading east, they rendezvous at the appointed time and place with the heavy bombers. And here are the heavies, giant flying fortresses that drop their tons of high explosives on pinpoint targets. As an attack by German Messerschmitts and Focke-Wulfs is about to develop, the Thunderbolts peel off to intercept, to protect their bombers. They have done their job well, turned back the Hun, while the bombers released their destructive cargoes. In the process, many enemy fighters were down. As soon as the pilot lands, his crew chief rushes up to hear the score. But in addition to the pilot's account, there's a film record of action when the guns were fired. This camera, shooting alongside the fighters' guns, can give us precise evidence of what happened in the sky battle we've just seen. This roll of film will be rushed to the developer, and here's the story it tells. A good day's hunting by a Thunderbolt. On the River Seine, halfway between Le Havre and Paris, is today's target, Le Trait. Objectives are power plants, boiler houses, repair shops, and shipyards. 36 B-26s took off, 33 attacked, protected by 11 squads of Spitfires. Workshops were hit with 40 tons of bombs. All vessels docked here were set afire as 4 other fighter squads swept the area. This was an extremely successful bombing mission since there were no losses or casualties for our side. On a mission over Saint-Nazaire, a fortress is attacked as she completes her bombing run. Hit fatally and engine smoking, the ship plummets down and crashes into the sea, a flaming comet. On a frosty English morning, an 8th Air Force crew trots to its plane, its engines turning over, the famous Memphis Belle. They move down the line in their regular order. A mighty armada of flying fortresses is taking off in a major daylight raid against northern Germany. They're going to strike at the heart of the enemy, Wilhelmshaven, a big naval base just west of the Danish peninsula. As they pass over the Frisian Islands, the windows are winking in the sun. Crossing over the continent, they approach the target. The Germans light hundreds of smoke pots to hide the harbor installations, but they're too late. This heavy flak indicates how important the target is. Bombs away. Now interceptors charge in. A battle royal takes place over the harbor. An ME-109 flashes by. The air is full of flak and Fokker-Wulfs and flying forts and darting Messerschmitts. Hits have been scored on ships, docks, and warehouses. The destruction is terrific. Continual German interception at the height of the bombing, trying every kind of attack. A stricken American Eagle drops out of formation, fading fast. But as the fortresses leave the smoking target behind, they resume formation, filling in gaps for the planes that won't make the round trip. Feathering its prop, this fortress limps back. At long last, home base. The mission has been completely successful, but we paid the price in men and materiel, and both must be replaced from home. This bombardier got a piece of shrapnel when the nose of the fortress was blown away in exchange for the several tons of bombs left in Wilhelmshaven. Salerno. This great amphibious operation for a foothold on Europe started on September 6th with a completely coordinated land, sea, and air attack. For 9 bloody days, the ships and barges were under continual bombardment, but they kept landing men and supplies. Battleships gave support from offshore. A Stuka was shot down. We had to take our losses too. The wounded from the bomb ships came aboard destroyers in the harbor. Those that were able crawled up under their own steam. The serious casualties were hauled up in basket litters to be rushed back to base hospitals. Still the reinforcements landed, while the first wave dug into the beach with their fingernails and hung on. By dawn on September 15th, we knew that the beachhead had been won. B-25s were sent out on an urgent mission. The Germans brought up the 16th Panzer Division to hit at our landing parties on the Salerno beach, but our tactical air force beat them to the punch by blasting Coletta, a road junction directly ahead of the 16th Panzers. A beautiful job of pattern bombing blocked the road and stopped the attack in its tracks. A wheat field and a tomato patch were combined into an emergency airfield by the simple process of uprooting the tree barrier between. Bulldozers, tractors, and scrapers were unloaded almost with the first wave at Salerno. The pick and shovel brigade was still building the runway when the P-38s came in for a landing. All this 24 hours after the engineers started. Then suddenly, an accident. A water truck concealed by dust was rammed. The engineers dragged the men out, fatally injured, but the P-38s kept coming in. Back from a mission, landing gear crippled by flak, this Mitchell bomber ground looped in. Five heavy bomber groups of the Army Air Forces press home the great low-level attack on the oil refineries at Ploesti, Rumania. 165 strong, these B-24s make their bomb run at treetop level. They roar into a steel hail of flak, low machine gun crossfire, and rifle fire. Here are the installations, refineries, fractionating towers, boiler houses, and storage tanks. At this moment, other elements are bombing Campina and Brasi to the north and south of Ploesti. The marshalling yards in the northwest corner of town, a mass of twisted rails and blazing tank cars. This day, Hitler's cracking plants in Rumania have really been cracked. Homeward bound over 1,000 miles of mountains and sea to the Benghazi area in North Africa. Terrible warning that no corner in Hitler's Europe is safe from our armadas.